Toy Story Land has been an undeniable success for Disney, with 4 versions of the land having been built around the world. However, one thing that none of those lands have is an indoor Toy Story themed restaurant, or at least that was the case up until now. And so today, let's dive into everything that we know about this upcoming project that's going to be opening very soon at Disney's Hollywood Studios. Up next. This video is sponsored by Topps Disney Collect, which brings collectible card trading into the world of Disney on your iOS and Android devices, making it easier than ever to collect and trade beautifully designed cards that showcase all the characters and special moments within Disney and Pixar animation. From uniquely stylized variations on Disney characters like this Pixar Pandemonium collection to never before digitalized animation concept art. And to help you get started, there's now a new feature where you can make a wish, and you'll get a few extra coins and cards every day, which you can then use to strategically trade your way to the collection you desire. So be sure to add me at Jack at DSNY and download the free app for iOS and Android today with the link in the description box down below. Hi there Waltineers, I'm Jack and this is DSNY Newscast, and for today let's get straight into it. As it was just less than a year after Disney swung open the proverbial gate to Andy's backyard in 2018, that Disney officially announced that Toy Story Land would receive an addition in the form of a brand new indoor table service restaurant that was to be called the Roundup Rodeo BBQ. And then later that summer we saw the permits filed and the demolition commence on these 2 backstage buildings, which was to be the location of this new themed restaurant, just off to the right hand side at the entrance to Toy Story Land. Then later in 2019, land grading was complete and the site had been prepped, ready for the new structure to go vertical, which it did very quickly throughout November and December, with the concrete poured slab walls being put into place. And that quick pace of construction continued on into January and February of 2020, which, thanks to these aerial images courtesy of BioReconstruct on Twitter, it showed us that the building was almost fully enclosed and ready for the interior construction to begin. However, then in March of 2020 the project came to a grinding stop, as a result of a 4-month-long shutdown of Walt Disney World at the beginning of the pandemic. And it was during the shutdown that on the Q2 2020 earnings call that Disney made the announcement that they were going to be reducing the capital expenditure within the parks division by $900 million for the year, which would see the postponement and construction pause on various projects, of which this Toy Story restaurant fell victim. And so throughout the rest of 2020 and into 2021, this construction project lay dormant. The building sat there, sealed up, awaiting resumption for 21 months. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, in January of 2022, Disney made the announcement that this Toy Story themed restaurant would finally be ready to open later this year in 2022. And so let's get to the current state of progress on this restaurant, as we can see that the exterior theming has still not yet begun. However, when it does begin, it should come together very quickly, as we can see from the concept art that when completed, this will resemble an amalgamation of cardboard boxes that Andy has cut up and pieced together to create a sort of makeshift indoor rodeo arena, complete with a Western Town and train station playset pieces and Woody's Roundup memorabilia scattered throughout, such as this cowboy boot snake shooting toy featured within Toy Story 2. And thanks to a recent permit filed with Imagineering, we also know that an externally lit marquee for the restaurant signage should be installed very soon. But because this is a fully enclosed, windowless box, it means that in terms of the interior progress, all we have to go by right now is a permit filed back in March for the fabrication and installation of set pieces by Icarus Exhibits, who previously worked on the Regal Eagle Smokehouse over in Epcot. And so with all of that being said, let's discuss what we can expect on the inside, as this themed restaurant environment will feature a kaleidoscope of gigantic game pieces from various board games and playsets themed after Toy Story characters, with the theming being very reminiscent of a Toy Story Mania queue, where the boards of these games have been used to construct the colourful 360-degree themed interior walls and ceiling, but with a larger scattering of oversized playset pieces that will be mostly static figures. But there is the possibility that 1 or 2 of them might be limited motion figures as well. And because, as is often the case with these Toy Story projects within the Disney parks, it tends to have duplication of the themed show elements, and an example of this is the exact same statue of Woody, Jessie and Buzz can be found in every single Disney park around the world, which makes sense as once Imagineering have the design specifications and the CAD files created, they're surely going to use them again and again. And so that's where it brings us to the Toy Story Hotel that's recently opened over at Tokyo Disney Resort, as I would expect that some of the new themed set pieces might get cloned and find their way to this Toy Story restaurant, such as the Bo Peep statue and the Trixie cardboard game piece. Here's an interesting thing, as if you look at the theming and also the location of this restaurant, it may also hint at another aspect to this project which hasn't been talked about to date, and that is the possible integration of some kind of character interaction. As first of all, the character's entrance and exit path for Toy Story Land is just to the left hand side of this restaurant, meaning that the character preparation isn't too far away from this restaurant. And then secondly, considering that the characters are represented in static board game and playset theming, it means that it would not contradict the story element that you're meeting the characters from the movie. Therefore, it poses the prospect that there's potentially going to have characters wandering through the restaurant for a brief character interaction similar to that of Be Our Guest or Artist Point. But then again, this building has also been designed to be windowless, which would also give Disney the option to have full character dining without interfering with the character entertainment outside within the rest of the land. And if this restaurant was always intended to have character integration, then it would also make sense as to why the construction on this project was not pushed forward throughout the pandemic despite being so far along. But either way, considering the current state of construction, this restaurant is easily going to meet its 2022 opening date without any further delays. But that's not all, as there's other, albeit smaller changes going on around Toy Story Land that will help with the land's capacity. Since the land opened, there's only been one food location, which is this quick service window known as Woody's Lunchbox. However, now it seems it's going to be undergoing an expansion to the side and around the back, right next to the exit queue for Toy Story Mania, where it's expected there's going to be extra shaded seating capacity for this quick service restaurant. And speaking of Toy Story Mania, Disney has also announced that there's going to be a brand new shop added to the exit of Toy Story Mania, called Jessie's Trading Post. And this will be a properly themed permanent retail location that will replace the lackluster temporary shop that was there for a brief time before. And then lastly for today, let's shift gears from talking about Toy Story Land at Walt Disney World and talk about what's going to be coming to the West Coast over in Disneyland. As it was announced last week by Disneyland President Ken Potrock that the Paradise Pier Hotel will be undergoing a substantial refurbishment, which will see it rethemed to not just the Toy Story franchise, but instead it will be rethemed to celebrate all of Pixar movies in what looks to be a sort of Art of Pixar hotel, which might be similar to the revamp of Hotel New York over in Disneyland Paris when it became the Art of Marvel Hotel last year. And despite this leaning towards more subtle IP integration, like what was recently introduced at the Polynesian Resort with Moana, or at the Contemporary Resort with The Incredibles, this reimagining of the Paradise Pier Hotel is also said to be designed in such a way that it can be updated to represent new Pixar movies as and when they are released. And in addition to that, this revamp will also see a designated portal return to the hotel, so that guests can have direct access to not only Pixar Pier, but also subsequently Disney California Adventure as well. Now, of course, there is part of me that wishes that this hotel project would be leaning more towards the more elaborately themed and extremely detailed Toy Story Hotel over in Japan. However, if a Toy Story hotel like that was to be brought to the domestic parks, I feel like it would be much better suited to Walt Disney World, where it would be nearby Toy Story Land instead. And so in conclusion for today, that's everything regarding the Toy Story franchise and Pixar within the Disney parks right now. But stay tuned, as I'll be back with more information as and when other details are officially confirmed. But now it's over to you, Waltineers. I would like to know, if you could have Disney build another indoor themed restaurant, then what would you have it themed to, and where would it be located? And if you've enjoyed today's video, then give this video a massive thumbs up, share this video with a friend, and with all of that being said, I've been Jack, you've been you, and I'll see you real soon.